It's time for yet another album reaction, okay? I listened to Wall Socket from Underscores about a month ago, and now we have this new Jane Remover album, which I've been looking forward to for several months now, okay? I feel like 2023, I've been blessed with like all of my favorite artists dropping a bunch of albums, and that most, if not all of them, have been extremely solid. And so I'm looking forward to this new Jane Remover album, Census Designated. Now, it's about an hour long. Frailty, just to provide some context, Frailty from Jane Remover is one of my favorite albums I've ever heard. It's just straight gas. It's got like that kind of hyperpop, digicore, electronic kind of fusion. It's all over the place in terms of genre influence, and I don't know, I just think it's an incredible album that covers a lot of cool topics, and so I'm excited to see the growth of this artist I've been following for a long time, Jane Remover. So one thing I wanted to point out before we just dive into the reaction, because I've been dying to hear this all day. I'm recording this late at night on Friday when it released, so I've been waiting all day to listen to this. One thing I will note is that not a single track on this album is less than 4.5 minutes long. Where on Frailty there was a lot of mixed length between the tracks. There were short tracks and long tracks, but there were a lot more songs on the album. This is just 10 songs, an hour length, and every song is at least 4.5 minutes. So I wouldn't say there's a short song on this project. I will also say a lot of these songs look very familiar. Obviously, Lips and Census Designated were singles that I listened to, but Contingency Song and Cage Girl were also songs that Jane Remover has released in the past, but it seems like they're altered for the album experience. So I'm curious to see how those stack up in the track list. But I mean, yeah, without further ado, let's just dive straight into the album with Cage Girl / Cam Girl. I will have Genius pulled up for the lyrics, by the way, because I'm assuming there's a story behind a lot of the tracks. I will say these lyrics look familiar. They look like Cage Girl's lyrics, and I really like Cage Girl. And all my life, I've been waiting for my new limbs to come in. I feel like is a topic that was talked about on Uncanny Long Arms from Underscore's new album, Wall Socket. Because on that song, Jane is talking about having arms too long for her body, you know, not feeling comfortable because she wasn't born into the correct body, obviously. So I think that's a reference to that. I love the vocals. Unlike Wall Socket, I cannot really cheat in terms of lyrical content, okay? There's one annotation. I haven't read it. So this is just pure speculation, pure guesses on my end of what this song could mean. So Cage Girl / Cam Girl, I'm going to guess was renamed because this is just Cage Girl, lyrical content wise, from what I gathered. There were slight lyrical changes. I think the vocals sound different than they did on the original track, but I'm assuming it's just to match the sound of the album more. So because of the changes, it got renamed to Cam Girl. I'm not sure if that has to do with the actual song, but I think it's just, it comes down to like almost a jealousy aspect, feeling like you can't be the girl that you want to be in order to attract this guy. As evident from this verse saying like, I hate this guy so much, but I'll let him slide. Waiting for my new limbs to come in. Obviously, the refrain that gets repeated, the I peel my eyes open, everyone knows and nobody cares. I think it's just a song about kind of lacking that self-confidence, really appreciating someone, but not getting those feelings reciprocated. That's ultimately what I feel like Cage Girl's about. Maybe feeling a feeling of being trapped, kind of where that cage comes in. But hey, man, I'm not super smart. I'm just This is just what I'm picking up from, what I listen to. I liked that song a lot. It's obviously, if you've listened to Frailty, it's a lot less upbeat. Obviously, well, I guess Goldfish was the opening track, which was slower, but yeah, it's not a super upbeat opening, but it's well written. It's got good vocals, which was my only problem with Frailty, was I felt like the vocals were really one note, kind of samey, but this is already pretty different from the other stuff I've heard from Jane. So, all right, next up we got Lips, which was the debut single. Ooh. I don't know how I feel about that vocal. You went crazy, I'll get you insane. That's nice. Okay, new section. What the heck? Uh-oh. Ooh! There we go! Ooh! Ooh! That put! My right ear's loving that. Okay, I'm gonna assume that transitions as well, just a guess. I mean, I heard that single. I liked it a lot. I love the progression of this one, man. Because at first, you're thinking, oh yeah, it's just another one of those kind of, more chill songwriting focused songs, kind of like the first track, Cage Girl. And then, you get hit with this noise wall that's just sick. It's so sick. It's so awesome. Yeah, no, it's almost mesmerizing. I will say, tiny complaint, I'm not crazy about those vocals, particularly in verse 2, that they almost sound kind of, I think the word's dissonant. They're just off, which I think is meant to be uncanny. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable, but from a purely, listener musical experience, I'm not crazy about it. But that's such a minor complaint compared to the rest of the song just being an amazing experience. So, yeah, really awesome song. Let's see if it transitions. All right, sounds like upbeat to me. That chorus gave me goosebumps, bro. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is what's up. This is, as much as I appreciate more the slow burn, lyrical focus songs, sometimes you just need that banger that you can just go back to. And man, this chorus hit. Wow, okay. That was crazy upbeat. That was sick. That was awesome. All right, I'm hoping there's more of that in this track, across the album, whatever. Ooh. And double bass. So far, that's my favorite. That song was dope. Oh, man. Okay. So, the title of the song is Fling. So, I'm going to guess that, a fling, you kind of get the picture of a one-night stand or a rare kind of just one-off kind of event with someone. And I think a lot of the lyrics kind of play into that. If I'm being honest, I appreciate the offer, but I don't deserve the sleep tonight. Don't ask me whether or not you'll be at the bottom. There's almost a level of desperation. That's kind of the feeling I'm sensing from a lot of this album so far. Cage Girl is kind of this desperation for this guy that she admires to kind of choose her over someone else. Or on Lips, kind of more of like that lust aspect, just, crazy about that person, wants that kind of feeling. And then this as well, just desperate kind of for that one-off event, even if, there's a bit of that self-doubt. Yeah, no, I thought this song was sick, especially, the bridge really builds it up. It is pretty chaotic. It's pretty upbeat most of the track, but that bridge is what really builds it up into kind of that ending section. That feels really rewarding. So yeah, so far that's my favorite song, but who knows, that could change. Then alarm clock. It's quite abrasive. Okay. The vocals are hitting on this one. Ooh. All right, another really good song. I'm just digging this album so far. It's incredibly different, but I'm fine with different. All right. So my thoughts on this song, from what I gathered, it's more of the same, lyrical content wise. I feel like there's a story being told of like this specific relationship. There's like, we've covered the lust aspect, we've covered kind of the feeling trapped aspect, and this I almost feel like has a bit of an imposter syndrome like touch to it, where it's like, I need, what's it called? I don't deserve this relationship. I can't be alone with myself. It's, again, going back to that self-confidence that is just flooded in each of the track's lyrics. There's some kind of strange lyric, like, and you choose me because you have to, not because you want me. Where I think even the guy in this relationship has confidence issues. Maybe they were drawn to each other because of like that self-doubt, that lack of confidence, because it sounds like he's just as desperate as I'm assuming it's not like underscores where there's like a Sunny character, so I'll just say Jane for the female character. It almost has that desperation that we saw on Cage Girl, that we saw on Lips, even if it's a slightly different tone, right? So yeah, kind of it's maintaining that touch of desperation, of self-doubt that has been present on the other songs. I liked it musically. I really liked, kind of the breakdown part. Ooh! That part is sick. Oh, so is this part. Nice birthday run. Yes! Wow, that was sweet. What does that mean? That one was interesting. I want to read what this meant. Okay, so it's from because this lyric right here really threw me off. Like, maybe they're just treating Jane like she's immature, but yeah, no. Okay, I'm glad to know this is taken from a separate context. Once again, I think this plays less into the self-doubt aspect and looks more into just self-hatred, self-loathing. You're so ugly when you cry, so ugly, it's so ugly. And I let you drive. I take as like, you take initiative. You can be like the face of everything. You can kind of take on the burden because I can't do it myself. I'm so ugly. Is what I gathered from this track. Again, okay, I'm completely just guessing. But yeah, no. That song was very cool. Playing more into the album experience. So far, I'll say this. I'm not someone who's very invested or interested in romance. It's just not my thing at all. But in terms of storytelling, I think it's one of the most powerful methods of storytelling is through the lens of a romance. And this one is kind of extremely twisted, kind of dark, feels kind of wrong. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. I want that kind of visceral, uncomfortable experience. I will say it's not a very comfortable listen. Frailty was an album that fell right into kind of my sound palette, the types of things I listen to normally. I throw on tracks like, How to Lie, Your Clothes, Can You Tell, things like that all the time because, they're just comfortable songs I can throw on in the background. But this is much more of a challenging listen, makes me feel uncomfortable. So I value it with its storytelling aspect so far, but at the same time, I do prefer Frailty, if I'm being completely honest. However, we're getting into some heavy hitters next. We got a 7-minute song, 6-minute song, 6-minute song, 8-minute song. Okay, so we got plenty of room left on this album that, maybe there will be more tracks that I feel like I'm more comfortable going back to. I did really like that song, though. I do want to point out. It's kind of grungy so far. Ooh, wait. Is that the same Phil from, was it Like a Kiss? It was Like a Kiss. Yeah. That, drum fill, it's like... I feel like it's the same, but I might be tripping. This is a low register of the voice. That's cool. Wait. Okay, I'm onto something. Okay, I'm not insane, because back of my dress, he makes a fist, he tucks his hands underneath. Very similar to the lyrics on Like a Kiss, which is exciting, because Like a Kiss is one of my favorite Jane Remover songs. It sucks it's not on streaming platforms because of sample clearing, but I'm curious to see how much of that song is taken and implemented into this track. Okay, that chorus, I feel like, might be one of Jane's best performed. Okay? I feel like, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the time, what holds back Jane Remover from being one of my all-time favorite artists comes down to kind of the vocals being, very same note, but that right there was super dynamic, went all sorts of different places, and I was there for the entire ride. I thought that was actually just sick. So, yeah, no. That has to be, in my opinion, one of the best vocal performances in a chorus from Jane Remover that I've heard. What's about to happen? There we go. This is quite the noise wall. Whoa, this song keeps giving, man! Wow. What does that mean? Oh, okay. I mean, the song is sick. What can I say? Produced by Kamo. I didn't even notice that. I should have been listening closer. I'm a pretty big Kamo fan as well. Obviously, I mean, if you like Jane Remover, there's Home Switcher. Most people are probably familiar with Kamo's other music. I almost feel like I'm blabbering moron, saying the exact same things about each of the songs, about what the topics of the songs are, about the self-doubt, and about the toxic relationship. That whole kind of thing. Because every song is about the same thing. But it's about how I think each track it's almost about the setting that's important. And this kind of reminded me, it almost feels like two people, obviously this is more like headcanon. This almost feels like a couple trying to work out what each of them excels at and how they can provide help for each other. But as we're aware from the context and the story of the rest of the album, they're not very good at, working those things out together. Like, for example, Didn't touch the sink in 2 days. Said, "Are you proud of me, babe?" I wring the water out the towel. I crash the car. All of these feel like failed attempts at chores, but at the end of the day, what is it that Jane's looking for? It's validation, right? And so it still maintains that kind of toxic aspect, but it's a different setting than, Fling, Lips, Backseat Girl, those kinds of songs, right? Other than I will never be crazy about a minute worth of fade out on a song. I think that's pointless and stupid almost every single time. So I'll probably skip every time it gets to like the 6.5 minute mark. But yeah, no, still a dope song, still cool. I'm enjoying the storytelling. And I liked that one was more upbeat. There was maybe that tiny little pocket around the 4 minute mark that was kind of simmered down, was more chill, but the rest of the song packed a punch and was just pure heat. Ooh, I like the vocal switch there. It's more really disturbing imagery. That again, I'm not a fan of that. I sense a transition that I'm gonna blue ball us on. All right. I'm not. I know I pressed like on it. I'm not as insane about that song as some of the other ones. I think a lot of this album has a lot of shoegaze aesthetics to it, where it's kind of just those melted, washed out vocals, riffs, chords, everything, instrumentals just in general. But I almost felt like it kind of dragged on this song. Not to mention that I'm starting to wonder, okay, here are my current concerns with the project. I want it to be known, I think it sounds really good. I think the writing is really good. So I'm enjoying the album a lot. But unlike with Frailty, where I could give the album to a friend, be like, I recommend this project, and they can, go away with, they can kind of delve into Jane's other music from that project. It's very open to newcomers. This album very much is not. It's very lyric heavy. You need to be in the loop of the lyrical content, and I might be mistaken, maybe it's the case on some of the singles, but Jane chooses not to provide the vocals on Spotify. Artists can choose not to display the lyrics for Spotify users. And so I'm worried that this album will just be super unapproachable for like the average listener, because obviously there's the washed out vocals of the shoegaze aesthetic that are essential to the sound, right? But on an album that's so lyrically dense and important, I'm worried that it might go over viewers or listeners' heads. And I think this song kind of exacerbates that. There were times reading the lyrics, I believe this part, I couldn't even follow along, and I had the lyrics pulled up. So maybe, I would say maybe it's like, obviously I'm going to react to the Ken Carson album soon. The Ken Carson fans are always like, why do you have Genius pulled up reading Ken Carson lyrics when that's not the focus of the album? I'm like, I can kind of understand that. It's meant to be just hype, focused on the sound. This album is very much not hype, focused on the sound. You have to focus on the lyrics. But if the lyrics aren't going to be provided, I see that as a potential issue with the album. I do think this song lyrically plays into the rest of the album. Again, the really toxic dynamics they have. Said I left a hole in the palm of your hand and you said you liked it. Or you take the color from my face and I fill your bed with vomit. Like, these are really gross, visceral images that are provided to the listener. Fantastic writing. Still plays along with the rest of the album. I'm worried because I want Jane to succeed. I want Jane to have a bunch of listeners across the world. I want Jane to explode in popularity. And I'm worried that this album might not be able to reach as much success as Frailty with some of the issues I brought up. But I'm still enjoying it. Okay, I have another hot take, okay? Obviously, this is the title track, Census Designated, same as the album. Is it just me? Or would this have been a better album cover? It could just be me, but I think this image, like, I imagine this being, you know, something that gets reposted as an image that goes hard. Okay, this image goes, like, I feel threatened. It's sick. It's kind of got that dark energy to it that I feel like the rest of the album has. This is like, I feel like we are on the run. Obviously, there's the alcohol outside of the house. So it kind of has that runaway type of feeling. Fleeing the problem. I might be omega glazing, overlooking everything. Not overlooking, overanalyzing everything. But that's the impression I get from this cover. But I don't know. I feel like kind of the threatening dark aura the rest of the album has is portrayed in this image better. But it's not a big deal. Okay, you hear that, like, it's almost a guitar lick. That's one thing I think Jane Remover does excellently, just in general, is these motifs that carry across every track on an album. On Frailty, it was the that was on like most of the songs, almost all of them. And this one is like the I messed that up. But anyway, I love that attention to detail, that all the songs feel connected, both lyrically and through the instrumentation. I think that's just an excellent attention to detail thing. That's heavy. Ooh. I hate this. Stop doing this. I love the layers. That is my favorite so far. That was quite spectacular, I must say. So my thoughts on this one are, I think this is, so far, the pinnacle of the jealousy aspect. Where there's just a lot of, I bet she's so lucky to have a voice like that. Can't help but think the man I love the most is lying to me. Hold on. I gotta know if I need to hate this or not, because this is like the third song that's been teasing like the age thing, which always bothers me. So I didn't get that from the lyrical content at all, that it's kind of portrayed by a big corporate label taking control of like a young artist when they're impressionable. Okay, I guess, sure. The poison in my mouth wants you and me. Like, I think this is just the pinnacle of the jealousy aspect of this record. And just, I absolutely adore all the different vocal layers, how it all comes together in that last chorus. This is like a masterclass in track progression. So I think those aspects are why I think this is my favorite song so far. Obviously, it was a single, but I didn't listen to it a bunch. I watched the music video, thought it was fantastic, and I didn't really listen to it again. So this is quite the surprise. Oh, shoot! Can you all please stop making annotations regarding getting /sex? This song is not about that at all. The song is not told entirely from my perspective as well. It is telling when the song is about the music industry, but people gravitate toward it being inappropriate and triggering topics. Based Jane Remover. Okay. Now I will say, I've spent the entire video trying to analyze this album because I think it's trying to tell a story, and at the end of the day, I want to give my thoughts. take what you want from the lyrics on the album, but I'm very glad this is not what the song is about, because that would have really frustrated me. I feel like the rest of the song didn't really apply to this barely legal line, and so I'm glad that clarification was made. That makes me appreciate the song much more. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, perfect. Yeah, that's my favorite song so far. What the? Holy jump scare, bro. Oh my gosh, that was so loud. Okay, I'm not insane, right? It was silent at the beginning. Huh? 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 Okay. Someone sounds like a jackhammer. Bro. I certainly have thoughts on this song. Okay. Okay. So, let's start with the pros. I think this is one of the catchiest songs on the record. I think it's one of the most memorable. It kind of alters the storytelling approach and uses a much more visceral analogy, as opposed to, like, you know, the Lips idling somewhere, you know, the Backseat Girl. This is much more real, and I think it's much easier to immediately grasp the meaning of the song. Here's where my problems begin, okay? I mentioned earlier that I think the storytelling is good if it can make you feel super uncomfortable, okay? If it's making you feel an emotion, it's making you feel something, it's probably doing a good job of telling a story. My problem with this track in particular is that it's insanely uncomfortable, to the point where I'm no longer enjoying the track, I'm not enjoying the album, and I'm worried because I'm familiar with Contingency Song, okay? Love this song. I'm worried because that was maybe one of the darkest moments of the record, and we're moving into another extremely dark song. We're not going to get a resolution to this story, and that drives me insane. A lot of these lyrics, obviously, we're going back to the self-doubt, but this time amplified to 1,000, because it seems like this guy that Jane, I'm assuming it's Jane, is interested in, is kind of addicted to, and Jane is comparing herself to the women in the videos he's watching. And I don't know. Because I know how real this is, okay? So I want to give it credit for being really well written, because this happens all the time. But, like, it wasn't fun to listen to. It just made me uncomfortable the whole time. And so, like, if I didn't enjoy the song, but I respect and understand it, how do I feel? Like, I'm so conflicted. I guess I'll add it to unadulterated because it sounded really good. But I'm not going to add it to like songs because I did not like it. Okay? The song made me insanely uncomfortable. Especially, there were lines like, was it at the beginning that, yeah, I almost forgot what I looked like till I saw you playing with yourself online. It's just vile. I almost forgot what I looked like till I felt you moving around inside of me. Like, yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm very much not, you know, you get what I'm saying. I'm uncomfortable with the song, okay? But it did a good job portraying what it was trying to do. Dude, I'm so conflicted, man. That track threw me for a loop. It really did. Okay. Next, last song, we got Contingency Song album version. I'm assuming it's going to be roughly the same considering it's around the exact same length of the single, but okay, yeah, it's about the same song. That is tough. This part is sick. Contingency Song to this day is still one of the darkest, most haunting songs I've ever heard in my life. And as a result, I love it, okay? Some might say, well, how come you have such a big issue with video if Contingency Song kind of touches on a lot of the same aspects? Which is a good question. And I think it comes down to almost the barren aspect of it. It's not lyrically focused at all, where video very much kind of shoves the message in your face. This is just, it's less focused on the comparing yourself to the adult stars or whatever, and it's more focused on internal self-loathing and self-doubt, along with, kind of, from what I can gather, self-harm ideation, which is a horrible thing. But that's kind of what it covers at the end of the song, which is why I was saying that I hate that this is the outro track. Okay? That bothers me so much because I love this song. And I remember seeing in TikTok comments from Jane Remover, someone asked, will there be songs like Contingency Song on the album, because I love that song? And she was like, I don't know, we'll see. And there were a lot of songs similar to it, most of which went into more of a shoegaze, noise wall kind of approach at some point during the song, where Contingency Song completely strips away drums. It's purely just dark and barren and creepy and haunting, unsettling. It does all of these things extremely well. But as an outro track, it almost sounds like ideation at the end of the song, which just so happens to be at the end of the album. That bothers me so much. Oh my gosh. I am someone who craves happy endings, okay? I know it's unrelated to music, but I'm going to use it as an example, okay? I have a My Anime List profile. I watch a lot of anime. I cover anime stuff on my channel. Almost all, sorry to spoil, almost all of my favorite anime have a satisfying, happy ending. It's one of the most important aspects in just storytelling for me. It is having that fantastic, satisfying conclusion. And this album lacks that. It sounds really good. The vocals from Jane have progressed significantly. I think that it's an excellent step in a new direction. One of the best artistic genre pivots I've seen from an artist. Jane Remover remains one of my favorite artists of all time, which is why I'm so heartbroken to say that this didn't resonate with me as much as Frailty did. Frailty remains one of my favorites of all time. Just how compact it is, the topics it covers, the sound palette it uses. I don't know. I really appreciate the album. I think there's some really good songs that I'll go back to, especially songs like Census Designated. Contingency Song I go back to quite frequently, even before the album came out. Cage Girl I've always really liked. Man, as of right now, okay, don't panic. Okay, so far I've only used the 100-point scale on this website for 9s and up. So when I give it a 70, I'm not giving it like a 7 flat. It's probably closer to an 8 than a 7 on the 100-point scale. But I'm feeling a 7. I hope that, I want you guys to give me your thoughts and perspective on the album. I mean, no hate to Jane whatsoever. Okay, Jane is one of my favorite artists. and I've been waiting for this album for a long time, which might just be part of why I'm so upset. Along with just a sad story throughout. I really hope that this is like kind of a step from moving on for Jane from this heartbreak and this tragedy, because it is a dark album. It's not fun to read the lyrics, to listen to. But I think the lyrics are essential. It's not like I could have ignored them and enjoyed the album more. I think it's an essential part of the project that you just can't ignore. So those are my thoughts on Jane Remover Census Designated. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts. You enjoyed hearing what I had to say about the album. Yeah, no. I truly am really conflicted. This is the most conflicted I've been about an album this year. Most of the time, I've either loved what I've heard from the artist right off the bat, or I'll use Origami Angel as an example, one of my favorite bands of all time. I'm just instantly disappointed, and that opinion doesn't sway. This, I feel like my opinion could sway with more analysis, with more outside perspectives. But for now, I'm feeling a 7, which isn't a bad score. I think it's a good album. If you want something a little more lighthearted, you can watch me react to every Distant Cry song, every Distant Cry worst beat ever, which will be over here. And if you want more album reaction focused stuff similar to this video, you can watch my reaction to Underscore's Wall Socket that dropped about a month ago over here. I really appreciate each and every one of you for watching, and I hope you stick around for the next reaction, which will be the new Ken Carson album. See you guys.